Today I'm digging deeper to find evidence to locate Arthur's final battle. That's the Battle of Camlan, where Arthur was said to have been mortally wounded. We can't be sure where Camlan was. That's because the earliest historical record just doesn't tell us. The Annals Cambriae calls it Gwaith Camlan. It tells us that Arthur and Medrawd fell there, but no other details to locate it. But there are clues in different later sources, but the problem is they seem to indicate different places. So I'm trying to explore all the options. And the best option, in my opinion so far, is that the location alluded to is the place still called Camlan today, near Dinas Mawddwy in Gwynedd, northwest Wales. But I do still acknowledge that people have suggested Camlans all over the country, and I will try and get to them all over the course of this series. After all, Camlan was probably a place name that was much more popular across Britain at the time of Arthur than it is today. The name in Welsh today means the same as it was as recorded in the Annals Cambriae. We would use the same word. A couple of examples do still survive in Gwynedd, but elsewhere in Britain, presumably many others have been lost. So to explore this idea, what I did in the last video was to summarise a Welsh language history book that originated from the Dinas Mawddwy area, written by Thomas Davis, known as Tegwin, in the late 19th century. And what I found out by reading that book was that a lot of the local place names give a circumstantial impression that there was a great battle there. It was also the place, and still is, where major roads converged, so of great strategic importance, and local folklore does remember it as a noble meeting place as well. My feeling is that this was a plausible place for two great armies to meet. I've had a great response to that video, thanks to everyone who's watched and commented on it, and I do need comments, whether good or bad, to help me sort of develop my ideas. I actually asked the question whether anyone knew of the tombs that Tegwin mentioned at the Camlan site, which Tegwin associated with the aftermath of the battle. I couldn't find a record of them, but that's not unusual. Thanks to Hugh Evans for leaving a comment saying that he's been to the Camlan site and he's actually seen the grave mounds there. It's really good to have that corroboration. Thanks for the comment. Now, what also helps me are constructive criticisms, and someone has said that the earliest definitive attestation of the place name Camlan near Dinas Mawddwy only came in the 16th century. This isn't a big problem for me really, because place name records for Wales weren't very complete before the advent of modern mapping, so relatively recently. And by that standard, 16th century is actually relatively recently, although I do acknowledge that there is a 1,000-year gulf between the time of the supposed battle and when that record was made. And this leads me to what I want to talk about today. There is an earlier source that isn't completely clear, but to me suggests that there was a Camlan in the same region as Dinas Mawddwy, and which also alludes to the battle. And this reference to Camlan appears in a collection of Middle Welsh poetic verses known as Englynion y Beddau. That means the Englynion of the graves. An englyn is a Welsh poetic metre. Some people have called them the stanzas of the graves. The verses are difficult to date. I'm looking at what's known as the first series. They appear in a manuscript called the Black Book of Carmarthen that dates to about 1250. But we don't know who wrote them originally. What is interesting is that they're the same types of verses as the Juventus Englynion, which are dated to the 10th century. So maybe they're as old as that. And the most sceptical estimates still put them no later than the year 1150. So much older than our other place name records for Camlan, and I think that you could kind of call this a place name record, because the whole purpose of these Englynion is to inform us on the locations of the purported burial sites of the great military heroes of the Welsh heroic age. So there are details in here to trace the place names to the landscape. An excellent edition of Englynion y Beddau was published a couple of years ago, edited by the great scholar Patrick Sims Williams, and there's so much useful information in there. And most of the good points I'm going to make have come from this book, so I can't really take much credit for this. Now, in terms of describing these locations, we don't really get the postcodes. Sometimes the information is vague. For instance, the verses start with a Beddau a'i Gwlycha Glaw, and they were the graves of Cerwyd, Cowryd and Cow. Next verse, the graves which scrub covers, the Beddau a'i Tyd Gwyddwal, the graves of Gwrien, Morien and Morial, and in the following verse is a Beddau a'i Gwlych Cawad, the graves of Gwen, Gwrien and Guriad. So on that information alone, we can't really find those graves. But in their own day, of course, I'm sure they weren't cryptic at all. They would have alluded to well-known stories about these people and the place of their burial. Stories that have since disappeared. So we're left with just these little remnants of a wider tradition in the Englynion of Beddau. So what we can say about the Englynion is that they recall the epic sagas of the Britons, which were widely known at the time of composition. Similarly to Trioedd Ynys Prydain, these Englynion are believed to have had a mnemonic function in recalling these wider stories too. But some stories we do still have. So in many instances, these Englynion confirm things that we already know about some of the people mentioned. For example, the grave of Cei is mentioned. It's Englyn number 6 in the first series. Bydd Cei son hwyr fan, rhwng caer cenedr y glan, môr maroddig y cynran. That means the grave of Cei the high-minded is between Caer Genedr and the shore of the sea, a magnificent leader. The Caer Genedr mentioned is not known, but the legend of Cei associates him with the drowned kingdom of Cantre'r Gwaelod or Maesgwyddno beneath the waves of Cardigan Bay. The other thing about these graves is that you'll be hard-pressed to locate any of them outside of Wales. I've had a look through the first series, and I've plotted in the clearest places that seem to be mentioned, either because there's a strong description in the Englyn itself, or because it corroborates a very well-known tradition about that person. And the general idea is that these places are more strongly connected with the Northwest anyway. Okay, so now that we've had some examples, we can better sort of contextualize these verses. So let's have a look at the verse that mentions Camlan to see what information we get. Okay, so the Englyn in question goes, Bydd mab Ovran yng Camlan, gwi llawer cyflafan, bydd Bedwyr and Cei. Actually, I should have read it out saying yng Camlan because the mutation isn't explicit in the wording, but I think they did start pronouncing it that way at this time. So again, Bydd mab Ovran yng Camlan, gwi llawer cyflafan, bydd Bedwyr and Cei. And Sims Williams' translation is, the grave of Ovran's son is at Camlan. After many a slaughter, the grave of Bedwyr is on the slope of Cei. Now there's a lot in here to suggest the Battle of Camlan. Obviously the name Camlan is a match, but when we start digging down into the other people and places, the implication is even stronger and easy to miss the first time. Let's start with the places mentioned. There's two places. First is Camlan and the other is Cei. There's actually several examples of both of these place names, but the most conspicuous are the Camlan near Dinas Mawddwy. Now Cei is one of the most recognisable peaks of Eryri, actually one of the best known mountains in the UK. It's very distinctive. There are some other examples of the name, but this is what I believe is alluded to just because it's the most obvious one. So these places are geographically close to each other in northwest Wales, in the county of Gwynedd, the old kingdom of Gwynedd. But I think there's a thematic connection too in this Englyn. I think it's all about the Battle of Camlan. The second line says, after many a slaughter. Remember, the Battle of Camlan was supposed to have very few survivors and supposedly brought down Arthur's great empire, although I'm sure that story is exaggerated, but nevertheless known as a great slaughter. And the people mentioned in the Englyn both suggest the Battle of Camlan to me as well, and they both also suggest the region of northwest Wales. Let's start with Bedwyr, one of Arthur's best known knights. How should we summarise Bedwyr? He was described as a great warrior in early Welsh Arthurian sources such as Culhwch y Golwen and in the poem Pa Gwrw y Porthor. In that poem, Bedwyr was said to have killed hundreds at the shores of Tryfrwyd. That battle seems to recall one of Arthur's mentioned in the Historia Brittonum. The word probably is an adjective rather than a name, but I think it's quite significant that it's alliterative with Bedwyr's supposed place of burial, Cei. Now, from the earliest sources, we have a strong connection between Bedwyr and another knight called Cei. They were together with Arthur on Bochrw Carn near Merthyr Tydfil, in the earliest source that ties Arthur down to a locatable place. That was from the life of St Cadog. Are mentioned together as well in Pa Gwrw y Porthor and Culhwch y Golwen. Now, what is really significant in my opinion is that as well as the strong connection between Bedwyr and northwest Wales, there is a strong connection between Cei and several notable place names in the same region. Cei seems to give his name to two Roman forts in that area. Basically, what I'm suggesting is Just as in the stories, Bedwyr and Cei are together, this matches the landscape of northwest Wales, where Bedwyr and Cei are also together there. This is a Cei'r Gau, Meirionethshire, and a Gwryd Cei, Cei's fathom, and that is adjacent to Tryfan. These are significant place names in my opinion, with Cei and Bedwyr adjacent to each other even in death. Not according to Geoffrey of Monmouth, because his highly fictionalised version of the story had Bedwyr dying in France as part of Arthur's conquest there, but not a reliable version of the story in my opinion. It all plays down his connection with Cei there too. But can an earlier Welsh story help us out in telling us about Bedwyr's death? We are sadly lacking the native story about Bedwyr's end. Personally, I suppose that he did actually make it to Camlan and was said to have been one of those who died at the battle there. He was a loyal knight of Arthur after all. It seems that the closest clue that we've got to a native story on Bedwyr's death may be found in a cowydd by Llywelyn ap Moel addressed to Rhys Goch Eryri, and that would be from the early 15th century. His words were "Fy nghalon dirion a dir fidwas fel Cei am Bedwyr." Llywelyn ap Moel was lamenting the fact that his gentle heart was broken like that of Cei for Bedwyr. Okay, so let's leave Bedwyr there for now. There's someone else mentioned in the Englynion too. He's just called Ovran's son, not even given his own name. Maybe Ovran, his father, was particularly well known in his own day. So who do we think that is? If we started looking at Bartram's Welsh Classical Dictionary, a very good place to start, Bartram just says that Camlan in Englynion y Beddau was mentioned as the site of the grave of Ovran's son, whoever he was. Okay, so Bartram didn't seem to have much of an idea, but I think that Patrick Sims Williams seems to have a clear idea. In his notes he says that Ovran's son has not been identified, but significantly 12th century poet Llywelyn Fawr I, praising St Cadfan, the warlike Abbot Morfran, and their church at Tywyn, Meirionethshire, about 18 miles from Camlan in Mallwyd and 17 from Camlan in Llanelltid, alludes favourably to an otherwise unknown hero of this unusual name. Ovran Gananau Swan Oswyd, eager Ovran beating the enemy's shield. The name Ovran recalls that of Morfran, son of Tegid, who is often mentioned as one who escaped at the Battle of Camlan, and who is associated with Llyn Tegid in Llanuwchlyn, that's Bala Lake, only a dozen miles from the two Camlans, besides which stands the Roman fort Cei'r Gau, associated by the late Middle Ages with Cei and his father Cynir, and said to be where Arthur was raised. So there we are, very strong Arthurian connections with a lot of these people and places. Can we call this history? Absolutely not. This seems like legend and folklore, but is there historical kernel here? I think so. I think that the real battle that we know of, confirmed by the entry in the Annals Cambriae, that said that Arthur and Beddau both died at Gwaith Camlan, the strife of Camlan, I think it really happened here. And this Englynion, by co-locating these people and places, is alluding to that belief, a belief that has no doubt been exaggerated over time, and incrementally more and more has been added to the story. Was Bedwyr really buried at Tryfan, for instance? Probably not, but I think that his death was likely somewhere in that area and then got relocated to a nearby notable landmark. I'm going to quote Patrick Sims Williams again. He says, while it's not easy to be sure quite what is going on in this stanza, it does seem that places in Carnarvonshire and Meirioneth are being grouped by a sort of free association of names. For example, the name Ovran perhaps suggested Morfran ap Tegid, Camlan, Cei'r Gau and Cei, and Cei suggested Bedwyr and Tryfan near Gwryd Cei. I think this is a really good idea. This seems to be what's going on in the Englynion, a free association and a sort of mirroring of names in Meirioneth and Carnarvonshire. But what should we make of all this? I think it does tell us both that the name Camlan existed near to its present day location, centuries before what many would regard as his first attestation, and also gives it an Arthurian connection too. My suggestion is that this is an Arthurian theme verse that strongly implies a connection with northwest Wales. But as I say, this does fall short of the threshold of history, so we need to cast our net a little bit further now and have a look at some of the other possibilities, and that is what I'll be doing in the next video. Now I'm going to end on a bit of a sad note. I was very sorry to hear of the recent passing of Marty Langford. A lot of my viewers will know who that is. He was a very knowledgeable person on the history and archaeology of Glamorgan. He used to post and comment in a lot of Facebook groups. And he's helped inform a lot of my opinions and a lot of these videos also. I just want to pay tribute to Marty. He was particularly knowledgeable on the archaeology of Glamorgan. He was a great friend of the well-known archaeologist Eric Talbot. I know that he collaborated with him on several digs. Marty also had a keen interest in Iolo Morganwg, and the picture I'm showing is Marty at Iolo's writing desk. So this one is for Marty.